Mike Anderson, Reno Fly Shop here, doing another tying demonstration for the month of October. This fly is called Jan's Tui Chub. It is a fly that we use as we head into the fall and winter. A lot of our still waters, the fish are going to try and put on those pounds. They're going to get active really feeding on other bait fish, other bigger prey items. A lot of food, a lot of protein. Really allows them to put on some weight before winter. And this is also a great Pyramid Lake early season fly. You can go to renoflyshop.com, go to our blog section. I did a blog about the early, middle, and late seasons out at Pyramid Lake. And this fly is perfect for early and late season. Just a nice Tui Chub or just a bait fish imitation. And like I said, it's not pyramid specific. This is definitely a fly that we would use in a lot of our local reservoirs. So let's tie it up. The hook that we are using today is a Firehole 839 in a 4. Okay. You can definitely size this down to do lakes that maybe don't have as large of trout. This time of year too, a lot of the high alpine lakes are already starting to freeze over once we get into like late October. So not a fly I would use there, but a lot of our other lakes, a size 4 is going to be just fine. Pyramid Lake, a size 4 is just fine. So what we're going to do, I have 140 denier black thread. We're just going to start a nice little loop and kind of bring it down just shy of where the barb would be and give that a nice trim. So the back of this is just rabbit strips and olive. Okay. And what I've done is I've already just pre-cut off of the strip there just about a 2-inch section of leather, okay? So this is where it gets a little tricky. We have to line up the tie-in point to also where we're going to end it. So right there you can see I'm holding this leather so that it's just shy of the eye. Okay, I'm going to give that a little pinch there. And then I'm going to look back to the underside and see where my line crosses that hide. That's going to be my tie-in point. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take my left hand and just pinch the leather kind of right where I'm going to be tying it. Give my bobbin a twist. And then I grab a bodkin and just separate the hair right where I'm going to tie it in at. Getting a little spit on your finger will definitely help to kind of open up that gap. Make one final check to make sure that that leather is still going to be right next to the eye. And once it is, we take a couple of pinch wraps. Some decent pressure to really lock that down. And to make sure that my leather side of the zonker strip hasn't rotated on me. We don't want that rotation. Okay. Last check before we move forward that my leather on the front here is still right next to the eye. It is, so we're good. I will pull that all back with really good pressure and do a couple of loops right back here just to kind of lock it in place. Alrighty. So the next step is what we call a complex twist. It's a technique that we use when we're using 2 different chenilles that we are going to combine to give our fly A, the color profile we want, but B, to also give us a little bit more body so we don't just have a really skinny fly. So the first thing that we are going to tie in is UV polar chenille in silver. Okay. That's this stuff right there. And then I'm also going to tie in cactus chenille and bonefish tan. Okay. What I'm really going to do is I'm going to line up the tips of both of these. So I line up the tips, kind of pinch them together, stroke everything back, and then pretty shy of the eye, I really do not want to crowd the eye on this fly. I'm going to just tie those in together, okay? Good pressure, and the reason I came all the way forward to tie these in is just to keep a really consistent shape to the body. Okay, we're going to stop pretty shy. Like I said, I really do not want to crowd that eye. So I have 2 chenilles tied in together. What I'm going to do next is just take a set of hackle pliers, find the ends, grab them, and then once I have them grabbed, all I'm going to do is just spin both of these chenilles together. After a few spins, take the dog brush and kind of pry out those long fibers, give it a little bit more. So what I'm doing is I'm giving this fly the airiness of the polar chenille with giving it a nice solid core. So I'm going to have a little bit of bulk while still keeping the smoothness of having just the long fibers. We're going to palmer this forward, which means as I wrap around, I pull these fibers back. And I don't want touching turns. I don't want a ton of gap in between, but I don't want to create a huge body, so I'm probably leaving about 1/8 of an inch in between each of these turns. Okay, once I get back to my tie-in point, we'll do a couple of drop wraps, really push down on the pressure, pull everything back, kind of lock it in there. Grab my scissors and then cut it out. Okay, we'll make sure everything is pulled back, make a little bullet head here, bring our thread forward, and then I take that dog brush again and just pop out any loose fibers that got trapped in there. And now the key is to stroke backwards and then also downwards. I want all of those fibers to be under the fly, okay? And then I'm going to take my hide, try and make sure I don't have any of those other fibers following the hide up. And you can see if you measure just right, it still ends right at the eye there. So I'm going to use my thumb, give it a little pressure. Now, one thing I can do, the leather will stretch. So if you're a little bit short, you can definitely stretch that leather. But when you go to stretch the leather, what you're going to do is invariably make the fly, at least the top, that little bit of rabbit strip up there, that olive color, you're going to make it very thin. And I want to preserve as much of that olive color as I can. So I really would rather my hide be a little long and I have to trim it after I tie in. Or once you've done a couple dozen of these, you get pretty used to knowing your tie-in point there. Perfect. So from here, we just whip finish. There she is. Now, rabbit pulses and flows and really kicks and looks beautiful in the water. The polar chenille is going to give you a great flash, which is going to trigger the fish into looking at the fly coming over and grabbing it. Super awesome fly. Again, you can fish it any still water. But this is Jan's Tui Chub. This is available at renoflyshop.com as a tying kit. And also at the store as a tying kit, and also we do sell this one in the shop and I believe online as well. So have fun, tie it up, go catch a big one on it.